I've been doing a little bit of work on this again, and I've made the trigger guard. Now I might do a little bit of reshaping to this yet, which I still can do, so it's not a problem. Now what you can see is that's the M14 gearbox, and on the M14 gearbox there's a little hook just behind the trigger. So what I've done is I've bent the trigger guard round, and I've drilled and filed a small hole in there, and the hook on the back of the gearbox locates in that little hole. I've just welded on the trigger guard at the front, and this slot here is going to be for the fire selector from full auto to semi-auto. Now what I've also done is I've drilled two little indents there, and the idea is I'm going to make a switch, a selector which slides backwards and forwards, possibly with a spring loaded ball bearing which will clip into those two dents. Now that there is the screw which holds the gearbox in position, and that can be tightened up by putting a screwdriver down through this hole here. Now magazines. Now this is the original PPSH41 mag, World War II Russian made one. Now if I pull this off, you can see this isn't converted in any way yet. Now I was discussing earlier on about possible ways to make the magazine for this. Right, if you strip this mag down, you push that little sprung screw in the back, or sprung nut in the back, you push that in, and that releases that there, and the cover comes off, and that's where all the ammunition was stored, curled round into the centre. So basically the centre of this rotates and press the ammunition back up to the opening at the top there. Now if you take all that mechanism out, you end up with a fairly empty box. Now something I was discussing earlier on was using one of these small magazines inside here, maybe cutting the centre out of this side of the mag, or making a new plate for it and fitting that in the middle with a winder in there. Now it's not too bad an idea, it would work, but a different idea I've come up with is using a high cap Thompson mag. Now this is a high cap Thompson magazine, I think it's Keimer mag. Now you basically take two pins out of it, there and there, and then the mechanism inside slides forward slightly, and then you slide off a base cover. Now I've done that. Now you then push your finger in the top and the inside drops out. Now this inside was actually longer than this. You'll notice just here they separate, and this part was inside it, like so, yeah, to make the length longer. Now it's one of the things people have noticed is you can shorten high cap magazines down by taking that out, and you can make them from a 30 round mag down to, is it a 20 round mag? But this means you've got to saw it short and reflare the edges down here, or do the top, shorten the top. Preferably the way to do it is to shorten the base because it's less trouble. Now if we ditch this, that gets us to this. Now you might notice it just about fits across the span of one of these drum mags. You can see I've done a little bit more work. I've improved the colouring on the stock now, and I've also done the jobs I was talking about on the magazine. I've still got a bit more work to do on the mag, but I'll show you in a little bit of detail now. I've still got to make the magazine release catch under here. There's the bottom of the magazine where I fitted the Keimer Thompson loading ratchet. Now I've got to fix this in the front so that it looks a little bit more standard. This is what we have now. What I've done is I've just welded a piece of piping. The welding's a bit tatty. I couldn't grind it off, and anyway, I won't go into the reasons why it's tatty. But what I've done is the ratchet mechanism, which I showed you, is now fixed in here, and I've got two metal plates fixed around it, which are welded down in 6 positions, 3 on each side. Now you'll see there's a large gap around on this side here, but this area here is the actual hopper area where the BBs will run down and into the loading ratchet. Now this area here, obviously if BBs went down in here, they wouldn't get into the hopper part of the magazine, and it's just putting this area to waste. So what I've done is I've done sort of like a lobster pot idea. Basically the metal curves around here, and that basically means that I can fill all this area with BBs, and if I want to use the BBs from here, what I'll have to do is rock the gun over that way, and the BBs will flow around and go into the hopper area. Then if I continue to rotate the whole gun over, it should fill that area up again. So it basically gives you a reserve of BBs in this area. Anyway, that's the idea to it. Yeah. So it's getting there. The magazine is actually functional now. If I wanted to load it, I could just pour all the BBs in the 2 areas, then put the 2 sides back on. Quite a quick way to load it in some ways. The other alternative is I put a flap on the side here, and I'll leave it in the gun all the time and just lift a flap and pour the BBs in. So that would save you having to take the magazine out of the gun at all.